We're back with more thoughts and tips about your money. I'm James Waggoner, and for the next few minutes, we're going to take a look at your home and your mortgage. Now, if you're one of the fortunate people that's paid off your mortgage, that's great. You may want to stick around later for our segment on reverse mortgages later in this edition. On the other hand, you may be one of those lucky people who have waited to buy your first home. Well, I'm sure you know that prices throughout the United States have come down, and in some parts, rather dramatically. But have prices come down enough to fit your dream home into your new budget? If you're getting the urge to start shopping for a home, be sure to go back to episode number 2 in our series where we address how to maximize your credit scores. After all, FICO scores are more critical than ever in making your first home purchase. But no matter what your circumstances, we're going to take a look at one of the most valuable possessions. Yes, that's right. After family and pets, most people consider their home to be the most cherished possessions they have. For a very long time now, the value of our homes has overshadowed that value of individually held things like stocks and bonds, and nothing can catch the emotional value that America has attached to their homes. In the past decade, home ownership has reached an all-time high of nearly 69%. And that's of all of the population right up to 2005. But while the home remains a huge emotional asset, it has clearly become much more. In the past decade, the home has become a huge financial asset that has more than doubled in value, but it has become equally so a double-edged sword. Because of rising values and easy credit policies that we discussed in our last episode, homes have become an enormous financial resource that can help cushion changes in the economy or can act as a wicked spending tool that takes us to the end of financial sanity. Okay, the financial crisis of the past 2 years has provided everyone with a painful reality. But what should we do now? The answer is not exactly obvious because it will depend upon the individual circumstances. But here are some options. Should I refinance my existing mortgage? Secondly, should I look for a home equity loan? What about reverse mortgages? Should I pay off my mortgage? And finally, what about selling my home, even at a loss? Okay, let's start with the easiest question first. Should I refinance my mortgage? And the answer in 75% or more of the cases is unquestionably yes. And here's why. Mortgage rates today are as low as they've been, probably 40 years, and will probably not go much lower. May even go higher from where they are today. Because of rates like the one just mentioned, the rush to refinance is marking the most important trend in home mortgage business this year. As recently as 2 years ago, in order to get the types of rates homeowners had chosen from those dangerous 3.5 or 7-year adjustable rate mortgages or esoteric products like negative amortization mortgages, the present boom in refinancing allows homeowners that were caught in these ticking time bombs to convert to stable and predictable interest payments for the next 30 years. How safe is that? The 30-year fixed usually carries a somewhat higher rate of interest than a 20, 15, or 10-year fixed mortgage. Remember, we want to be careful not to overpay at the same time. Unless you're living under unusual circumstances, you will probably not live in the same home for 30 years. This is obviously true if you're young, newly married, or about to start a family. But it is also true if you're in your later years as well. Housing needs seldom remain static. They're either expanding or contracting, but seldom static. Since the average mortgage life is 9 years, you might want to consider a 10-year fixed-rate mortgage as a starting point. Whatever your final choice, stay clear of short-life, adjustable-rate mortgages. Once you've focused on the best refinancing option for you, be prepared with good to excellent credit scores and lots of patience. Now, in years past, mortgage brokers used to lock in a rate over the telephone. Have an approval within a few days, get a home appraisal, and close a loan within 3 weeks. That spin cycle is ancient history. These days, it's not unusual for the process to take as much as 90 days. Have a lender require far more documentation and insist on a FICO score of 700 or more. Another challenge comes in the loan-to-value ratios. For example, if you purchased a home in 2005 for $500,000, say, putting down 20% or roughly $100,000, and finance the balance through a 5-year adjustable mortgage of $400,000, you are a prime candidate to refinance before your mortgage adjusts in 2010. However, even if your FICO score is 720, you may be facing an unexpected hurdle. Unless the value of your property is held up at $500,000, you will face the new reality that many lenders will not lend above 75% of the newly appraised value on your home. In most parts of the United States, home values have declined, and in some cases by more than 20%, leaving many owners with few choices. Now, should I look at a home equity loan? Well, because interest rates are near historic lows on nearly all types of real estate loans, the answer again is yes, by all means. But home equity loans are, in reality, second mortgages on your home, and they carry a higher risk for the lender. With home values more questionable now than ever before, home equity loans are accordingly much more difficult than at any time in recent years. Here's what you might want to ask yourself. Is my first mortgage less than half the realistic value of my home? Do I have a sound reason to be borrowing the money? The best reason is to pay off high-cost credit card debt that will improve your overall financial condition and get an income tax break at the same time. Do I have salaried income and a good FICO score? If the answer to these questions is yes, then by all means proceed with patience and good luck. What about reverse mortgages? Well, reverse mortgages have been written for a long time, but recently have become the object of financial marketing maniacs. Baby boomers are the targets because in order to qualify, you or someone in your family must be 62 years old or older. The principle behind reverse mortgages is that the owner is willing to deed his property to the lender at the time of the homeowner's death in exchange for the right to live in the property and receive a fixed monthly payment. The monthly payment is based on some portion of the appraised value of the home. Some reverse mortgages will pay off existing debts. For a few families, this might present an attractive solution to retirement planning as it can reduce living expenses and provide income to supplement other things such as Social Security, private pension payments, or other sources of retirement income. However, any serious consideration of this alternative should always be done in consultation with a lawyer, tax consultant, and estate planning professional. It is obviously not for the family that already has a sizable mortgage representing 50% or more of the value of the property. Finally, should I pay off the mortgage? That seems like an odd thing to stress in these difficult financial times, even asking the question, should I pay off my mortgage? However, even in these times, financial circumstances change. Maybe it's a lump sum inherited from a rich relative. You win a prize, sell an asset that gets converted to cash. Even though most of us don't have the luxury of sudden and unexpected liquidity, no discussion of mortgages would be complete without this topic. And remember, those of us who have a bias against debt want to find ways for you to be debt-free as possible, or at least give you those options. There are advantages and disadvantages to paying off your mortgage. On the positive side, any extra money sent with your mortgage payment is applied to the outstanding principal, which can significantly reduce your total interest cost. This reduces your interest expense deduction on your income tax, but you're saving most of the cost anyway. For instance, if you're in the 25% tax bracket, you save 25 cents in taxes for every dollar of interest, but you're still paying the remaining 75 cents. Most mortgages allow you to add as much to the payment as you like, whenever you like, making it as easy to access these funds as you would like to have it. However, check with your specific lender to determine if prepayment penalties apply. On the other hand, instead of prepaying your mortgage, you might want to use additional funds to invest in investments with the potential to earn higher returns. Also, once you make additional mortgage payments, the only way to access that money is to sell your home or to take out a home equity loan, and that's usually at higher rates than the original mortgage. Before prepaying your mortgage, considering the following factors. Are your consumer debts paid off? Consumer debt typically carries interest rates that are higher than your mortgage rate, and interest payments are not typically tax deductible, that is, unless it's a home equity loan. Are you nearing retirement? Now, as you approach retirement age, the idea of entering retirement with no debts may make prepaying your mortgage a more attractive alternative. Have you investigated other investment alternatives? Look into other investments whose potential return may exceed the return from prepaying your mortgage. Now, these are just a few points worth noting, and you will always want to get an opinion from a tax and financial professional about your specific situation. What about selling my home at a loss? This is a very, very important question that many of us are facing today. With the real estate market slowing, more and more taxpayers may find themselves in a situation where the sale of their home results in a tax loss, or their net sales price is less than the amount of their outstanding mortgage. When selling a home, the basic tax rule is that you can exclude gains up to $250,000 if you're a single taxpayer, and up to $500,000 if you're married filing jointly, provided that the home was your primary residence in at least 2 of the preceding 5 years. But what happens if you have a loss on the sale? Since your primary home is not considered investment property, you cannot deduct a loss from your income taxes. But what if you sell your house for less than you owe on the mortgage? Ooh, sounds odd, but these days it's happening more often. If you owe $400,000, say, but manage to get an offer for only $350,000, you'll have to get the lender's approval first for what is known as a short sale. If you get the approval, the IRS considers that you have benefited by $50,000 and tax that $50,000 as ordinary income. Oh, look out. Okay, so we've given you some tips and important suggestions about your home mortgage. We hope we've kept you entertained as well as given you important information. I hope you'll join us next time when we take a further look at real estate from the buyer and investor's perspective. I'm James Waggoner. See you soon.